Religious freedom became a fundamentally important part of America the moment the Bill of Rights was passed on December 15, 1791.
The First Amendment clearly states that Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion,
or prohibiting the free exercise thereof,
or abridging the freedom of speech,
or of the press,
or the right of the people peaceably to assemble,
and to petition the government for redress of grievances.
Because of the First Amendment,
Americans are allowed to practice any religion they please or to practice none at all.
Religious freedom has attracted many immigrants from around the world in search of better life.
religious freedom protects people from religious discrimination in places such as at work or in school.
However,
Religious freedom doesn't always make things better.
Take the Ground Zero Mosque situation.
it is lawfully legal according to the First Amendment, but it can be argued it is morally wrong and can cause a riot.
There are also many cases that showcase this.
For example, Engo vs. Vitale, 1962, or Stone vs. Graham, 1980.
In both cases,
Students' freedom were limited by the school.
This raises a question.
to what extent do Americans really have religious freedom?
American citizens have all the religious freedom that are stated in the amendment. It is because of religious freedom that Americans can be free of religious discrimination at work, in school, or anywhere else in the United States. Though laws can be changed, American citizens still have all these rights until it is changed. Even though there has been many cases where Americans have to temporarily give up their religious freedom, they still retain their religious freedom in the end. Like in Engo vs. Vitale, 1962, where the Supreme Court's decision struck down a New York State law that required public schools to begin the school day either with a Bible reading or recitation of a specifically written non-denominational prayer. In Stone vs. Graham, 1980, where the Supreme Court struck down a Kentucky law that required the posting of the Ten Commandments in all public classrooms. Even though there have been many cases in which the freedom of religion has been violated, it has always been resolved by the laws. The full rights of religious freedom are something integral to being a citizen of America.
No, the citizen of America does not have the religious freedom that was supposed to be given to them. Take the Ground Zero Mosque situation, for example. If Americans truly have religious freedom, the Ground Zero Mosque argument would never have happened. The Muslims would have been allowed to build their church anywhere they wanted as long as they were legally doing so, and shouldn't have been targeted by the angry victims of 9/11 and be under constant alert for riots. This situation clearly shows that religious freedom is always under constant attack. This means that if the majority rules something as problematic, then it will be put into a situation where even though it is legal according to the freedom of religion, it will still be reevaluated. Though religious freedom are stated in the paper through the First Amendment, it isn't always there to give people the mental support they need. People always like conformity. In a way, people are always forced into joining a group. By being defined by a group, people will start to look differently towards other groups. Religious groups are usually hostile towards other religious groups. As a major religious group like Protestantism and Catholicism keep getting larger through conformity, smaller religious groups like Buddhism and Islam are being looked down upon and sometimes even forced to change religions so they escape from the hostility of the majority. This means that even though freedom of religion is a clear law in the United States, it isn't possible to enforce it completely. With this, it clearly shows that the citizens of America do not have the full religious freedom they have been promised.
Religious freedom isn't something that can be put into black and white. There are a lot of gray areas to it. With the ground zero mosque situation, the Muslims have the right to build their church there. However, it will raise the moral issue of the position, since a group of Muslims were responsible for the 9/11 attack. It can be said that they are choosing to build at ground zero just to cause a riot or raise attention. If this is the case, religious freedom should be overridden and be dealt with for the safety of the Americans. However, if the building of the church is not for an alternative reason, then they should have the right to build their church there, and the Americans should not be startled by it and should let them through. This is one of the many times where religious freedom falls into the gray areas. The conformity part of the religion can also be said to be a part of the gray area. Everyone has the right to be in any religious group they want to be in or to be in none. However, there will always be conflict between families, peers, and members of society if a controversial religion is chosen. In a way, it can be said that religious freedom also depends on the support that people get. In the end, there are many gray areas involved with freedom of religion that we don't typically recognize.
Religious freedom is a very important part of American society.
Without religious freedom, America wouldn't have the current population demographics they have today.
Without religious freedom, America wouldn't have been as popular a destination for immigrants.
Without religious freedom,
there also wouldn't be the same human rights Americans have today.
With the First Amendment, American citizens have most of the religious freedom that were said to be given to them.
However, like everything else in this world, there is never 100% in practice.
There will always be those who try to challenge or break the law.
As someone from a family that doesn't force religion onto a child, I am drawn to the idea that there is 100% religious freedom in this country.
As someone who has seen the injustice in this world, I have came to the conclusion there is truly no religious freedom in this country.
However, now that we understand the world better, we can also see that there is no absolute to religious freedom and there will always be a gray area.
Ba-da